Well, you may not be a follower of the Durham Lords, but the college basketball team is cruising along this season, constantly ranked in the top 10 in the country. One of the reasons is a 6'7" star from Cuba. But as SportsBeat's Claude Fig tells us, the clock is ticking on Augusto Duquesne.
These are good times for Augusto Duquesne, but a few months ago they were trying times. In August, as a member of the Cuban national team, the 6'7" Duquesne defected in Toronto at the World Basketball Championships and asked for refugee status. That followed the defection of Duquesne's good friend and fellow Cuban player, Ricard Matienzo.
A top Cuban basketball player, Ricard Matienzo, has defected from the World Basketball Championships in Toronto. Organizers say he's asking for political asylum in Canada.
Matienzo has since left Canada. Duquesne and Matienzo were both trying to follow in the footsteps of fellow Cuban Andres Guibert, a good friend of Duquesne, who also defected back in 1993 and now plays in the NBA for the Minnesota T-Wolves. And that's part of Duquesne's problem. Under the dictatorship of Fidel Castro, when any athlete defects, it is the responsibility of the rest of the teammates to try and bring them back. If they fail, they risk persecution back in Cuba. In Duquesne's case, it happened twice, first with Guibert and now with Matienzo. Understandably, Duquesne fears that if he is returned home, he will be jailed or executed. And despite leaving his family behind, Duquesne says he has their blessing.
I've spoken with my family, and they're very happy for me because they know the situation I was in, and I try to keep in touch when I can.
For now, Duquesne lives in Oshawa, playing college basketball for the Durham Lords of the OCAA, one of the top teams in Canada. Enjoying his new surroundings, teammates, and trying to pick up the English language.
He learns quickly. At first, we couldn't communicate at all. All we heard was no comprende, no comprende. And then after a while, he picked up like little words like pass, shoot. He goes, hi, how are you? I could tell once he first came, I mean, he was getting along with everybody. Everybody likes him. He's a fun guy. He's funny. He's an all-around nice guy.
Despite the language barriers, Duquesne is leading the team in scoring this season, including 40 in his first game, and says basketball is basketball.
Communicating on the court has been easy because we do the same things I did in Cuba. The only thing that changes is the system.
KERRY VINSON is the head coach at Durham. VINSON has done all he can to make Duquesne feel as much at home as possible. And while many would suggest he's only doing that to take care of his star player, VINSON says there's more to it than that.
I wanted a good player, for sure. But I think this is kind of a mutually beneficial situation where he can do some things to become a productive person, and, you know, we can get a good player at the same time.
Along with the notoriety, Duquesne has received plenty of support from the Cuban community, who have adopted him as their own and provided for him wherever possible. That's because as a refugee applicant, he is not allowed to work to earn money, nor does he want any government handouts. He wants instead to become a productive member of Canadian society and hopes someday to financially help his family out back home, perhaps as a member of the Toronto Raptors. Just as Augusto appears to be settling into his new lifestyle, the unsettling reality is that his temporary visa is almost up, and he will have to go in front of Immigration Canada to apply for refugee status. And if that's denied, Augusto could be bounced from Canada and back to Cuba. John DESIPIO is an immigration lawyer who will handle Duquesne's case. DESIPIO says Duquesne's fate will hinge on whether the Immigration and Refugee Board considers him an economic or convention refugee.
An economic refugee, I think, would be somebody who wishes to leave his country not because of the well-founded fear of persecution, but to better their lifestyle in another country. And that's not the position of Augusto in this case.
And there are a lot of people who come here wanting to make a better life for themselves, but if they don't meet the definition of convention refugee, in other words, if they can't demonstrate a well-founded fear of persecution, the fact that times are hard in their homeland doesn't mean that they are a convention refugee.
You could be optimistic or pessimistic. In this case, I'm optimistic because I've spoken to people close to this situation, and they've told me I'm not a detriment to society. I'm doing things properly. And so far, so good.
Duquesne's hearing is scheduled for December 12th. For SportsBeat Today, I'm Claude Fig.